Luca Nation, episode 611 of Luca's Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. Hello, Luca
Ooh.
Nation, Tigers and Bronze.
Wow, I like when he does that. Why'd you go
I-
back to Jeff Wilson? That was nice.
This is the equivalent of being stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, if you guys know, there was a million announcements today from the sports world and from the collectibles world and from Gary Vee and VeeFriends and Fanatics and ZeroCool and all that stuff. But Cage is hungry. And he's like, yo, I'm trying to go eat dinner with the family. So this is really awkward because this is one of those episodes that could go on for like an hour. But the hungrier the bear gets, the more.
That's all right. You do your thing, man. You do your thing. You're right. It's 611. It's not 911. It's not a hobby emergency. It's not 311. It's not total information. It's 611. You dial 611 on certain phone providers. You know, they give you information. They give you a balance. You know, on Verizon, they tell you what your phone balance is, what your bill is, and that kind of stuff. So 611 is an important episode. I got you, man. I don't want to shortchange you. So what do you want to talk about first? Let me guess. You want to talk about, let's see. You know what? I can't. There was no signings today in football. There were no trades. You want to talk about all the movement in the MLB? There was none.
There was
All
none.
right.
They're at a standstill is what I saw. They're at a standstill.
Pretty much. That's why I thought of that, because that's the only area of sports where there was no news, even though I'm hoping for actual news. But what would you like to talk about?
I think when you start losing real dollars is when people start moving. Right now, they're not losing real dollars. Preseason games are actually probably an expense to these owners.
You know what's pretty messed up? Yes, to the owners it is, but you know there are people who are losing stuff. The people in the stadiums, people who are at spring training stadiums. I just made up a word there. You know, the concession people, you name it, those people are not getting paid.
That'd be a cool card release, by the way. Fanatics, I know you guys listen. Spring Tranium and Frism. So
Frism is definitely my idea. No one better do Frism without.
If you guys go back and listen to our first episode with Josh Luber, I think Cage have a fun drinking game. We listen to it, and every time Cage says Frism, drink.
Yes, you will be drunk. You will definitely be drunk. But you know, you don't get Josh Luber on that often, do you? To pitch your idea of Frism.
I want to talk about ZeroCool card release and why specifically it always bothers a loud subset of people. So here's how I break it down. Anytime there's a new release, forget that this is Gary or VeeFriends cards, there's always 10% of, you know, his biggest fans they're going to buy anything, right? There's this like middle of 50 that, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical, but I see the upside. But then there's this like very loud minority that's like trash or this is stupid or cash grab. And I'm curious why people have that perception, even if time and time again, the person that's releasing this product has proven to make people money and create something really special, regardless of your subjective opinion of the art. So I'm curious, like you've been through collecting cycles, like you've seen how, you know, you were in the 90s where there was new brands popping up, new cards being released. Was it met with the same type of kind of breakdown of some people loved it, some people neutral, and some people hate it?
Always. I would say more negative. But that's what you get, you know, whenever there's a new entrant into something and the old guard does not like it and doesn't like the change in how they do things. You know, you got to remember there's a lot of money in this. A lot of people making a lot of money, and the people who are making the most money are obviously happy with the status quo. You know, they're happy with the way it is. The people who are getting allocations, they're making their money. You know, the people who are selling the most stuff, they're making their money. The people who are breaking the most are making their money. When somebody comes in and is, I don't want to use the word, you know, improperly, but I think it fits here, and somebody is a disruptor, you know, the people who are doing fine and don't want anything disrupted are usually the ones who are the loudest speaking out against that disruption, right?
But let's say you own Jordan cards or Jordan inserts. You know, you're high. You have $1 million plus collection. Yep. What does a non-sports card release with Fanatics? How does that affect your collection? That's actually good.
I don't think it does, and I don't think those are the people who are going to be coming out and, you know, crapping on it. I think, you know, maybe they are. I mean, you know what the thing is? It takes a little while for dust to settle on stuff like this, right? I go back to the same thing all the time. I was there when PSA was starting out and was trying to break its way into mainstream. I was at big card shows where people were like, I'm never going to get my card graded. That's stupid, Like, I know what my card's grade is. I know if it's mint or near mint. Why do I need somebody else to tell me? I've been doing this longer than anybody they have at that company, And obviously that is not the way things are now, and that's the difference between a hobby and a business, right? People then were like, oh, why do I need somebody to tell me what the card is? But, when PSA came out, then you had the internet and you had eBay and you had a wide range of selling these things across the world. And something like grading, providing that, third-party authentication and grade of the card where you didn't have the subjective, well, I'm a dealer, I'm telling you this card's near mint. You had that. That was something that was necessary to, bring the hobby, bring the business, forward. That's my first example because it's always astounding, that people were so against it, right? And you think about it now, and it's like, it's a necessary part of what we do. Card grading. Can you imagine, the hobby without, some authentication grading, companies? No.
Can we stay on this?
Yeah, shoot.
We always talk about growing the pie. Let me float a theory out. So some people see it, and it's like any entrepreneur could go and create a non-sports brand card and release it to the public.
Yeah.
What if that's actually a good thing? What if, like PSA, you said, now it's the standard. What if that is the standard, and we're bringing in people who would have never bought into sports cards? We're bringing them in through the side door to the hobby, and maybe they discover baseball, maybe they discover football or basketball from buying a non-sports card.
Well, keep in mind, there's two ways to do this. You can grow the pie, and let's say the pie is tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese on top of dough, maybe some seasonings, right? And that's what we got. That's the pie. You grow that pie big and you feed more and more people. But if you're a pizzeria, maybe you find that enough people have come in and expressed an interest in, dare I say, sausage on their pie. I don't want to go to pineapple. It's going to just start a whole thing. But yeah, pineapple. If
pineapple
on
pizza is weird. Whoever
does
that.
Have pineapple. Some people do it. Some people pineapple. But maybe people like, chicken on their pie. Maybe people like buffalo chicken. Maybe people like a little mushroom. Some people put salad on their pie. I don't know. But the thing is, I'm telling you, man, this salad pizza. I don't know. What do you want from me? But so you have. Yeah, look it up. Man.
Some people just take the cheese off the pizza and call it pizza.
Listen, I guarantee you there's herbal pizza with, like, your crazy kind of mushrooms on it if you want. I'm sure you can eat pizza with your funky fungi on there, right? But here's the thing, right?
I've been with the business, I haven't had any time.
It's very true. It's true. I can tell you're upset. You have not been a fun guy. So no, but maybe we should be looking at this as, maybe these are smaller pizza shops, craft beers. Is that a good way? I don't want to take too many analogies here, right? But you have Budweiser's out there doing their thing and they're producing enough beer for everybody. But you know what? There are people who want a higher alcoholic beer. I mean, think of what Carvin did with his release. Small, awesome, filling, a specific niche space, right? Where people like that, and it's non-sport. And I think, this brand, if it's going to be a bunch of non-sport, it's going to be, let's talk about, obviously, the Gary Vee release they're doing. Why the hell not? There's obviously a market for it. Think about it. Think of how many people have started. Well, start with Marvel. That's non-sport. Think of what cards have been selling for with Marvel properties, right? Then expand it out even further into pop culture. Think about, like, Jimi Hendrix cards, right? Think about we've talked about it, right? President's cards, the Ogden series, right? Think about pop culture. Think about, like, how much Jay-Z Chrome cards have sold for. So obviously there's a market for it, but the stuff that's available, stuff that's out there, were just like afterthought type of things, stuff thrown in a set, right? When we do President's Day, it was hard for me to go and find cards. I was finding cards of Derek Jeter that happened to have George Bush in the background, or why not have a set of the presidents? A legitimate one. And there are ones out there. There are other ones out there, but if there's a market for it, why the hell not?
I'm waiting. So we're at 10 minutes. So guys, Thursday we're gonna have Josh Luber on. We'll do a post if you have questions, topics, ideas. About
Thursday, tomorrow, Wednesday. When are we?
We're gonna have him on Thursday.
Okay.
We're recording it late tomorrow night, release Thursday. So
Okay, cool.
So Thursday night, Thursday 7 p.m. we'll release it.
So it's a soft Thursday? Soft Thursday.
What the fuck? So, and guys,
That's-
you could comment on this. It's
mega
done
mind.
via a blind duck auction. So first off, the whole business of auction.
You're having an auction for a blind duck? What did you say?
So
How much is a blind duck?
Blind
sell for?
Dutch auction.
Oh, that
Blind
okay. Now I get it. I didn't hear and I do these shows on their wired headphones. My phone dropped today. It's broken. My poor iPhone 8. I heard you were auctioning a blind duck. That's no
So
good.
the way that works is, let's assume whatever quantity there is. Let's say there's 100 units of something to be sold, and they receive 1,000 bids, and they pre-decided that at most someone can buy one of these items. Okay, so what they do is they take the top 100 bids out of the 1,000 submitted, and those are winners. That doesn't matter if the highest bid is 100 and the next 99 are $1. So the way a blind Dutch auction works, did I explain that well?
Well, does the person win for $1 or 100? Does everybody pay 100 or does everybody pay $1?
They only pay. So let's say there's 100 products. Each person could get one max. Okay, and 1,000 people submitted bids. They take the top 100 bids. Okay, that could be a range from the highest bid they received was 100, then 95, then 50, and then the rest of the bids are $25. Okay. The rest of the people get it for $25. Some people pay 100. No, correct me. Tell me. I'm reading it right off of ZeroCool Cards /blind_Dutch_auction.
No, I mean, unless I'm wrong, I didn't read it. So if you're reading it right off there, that's great. But I did a blind Dutch auction through StockX for Bowman X. I don't know if the video might still be up on my page. I could find it if it's not there. But it was cool. It was, Bowman Chrome X did through StockX, the same kind of blind Dutch auction. But let's just say there's 100 of them, right? I am pretty certain that they cut the bidding off at the top 100, and then all 100 people pay what that 100th person bid. So let's just say there's 1,000 people bidding. The top person bids $100,000. He's not paying $100,000, but he's going to pay what the bid number 100 cutoff is. If it's $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. Of course, don't get too cute. You bid $100,000 and a bunch of people bid $100,000. You might get stuck paying $100,000 for the thing. So there's obviously some, I don't want to call it gamesmanship there, but be careful. But that's the way it worked on StockX. That there's a cutoff, but you're not paying what you bid. You pay that whatever that number 100 bid is. That's the price. That's the clearing price, and everybody in that 100 pays that price. But everybody at 101 down gets nothing. So the clearing price might be $1,000. You might bid $998 and be the 101st bidder, and you don't get it. You miss out by $2, and everybody above you gets it for $2 more than you were ready to bid. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
You're 1,000% right. You're 1,000% right. So I kept reading. Fascinating. I honestly have no comment because
I like it. By the way, in the midst of this stuff, I was able to get that Bowman Chrome X. I bid on it. I think I got a case and an extra single box. I opened one box. I got a Tatis. They were like out of 99. It was a cool card. It wasn't autographed, I don't think, but it was pretty awesome. And they shipped it fast. And, it came from the whole deal. Obviously, this is a different company now, but it's the same premise, and it's fair, and it's kind of cool because if this is the way it's going to work going forward, it's an interesting, different way of doing it, and it is providing the ability for anyone who's willing to pay the ability to get it. You don't have to go through a middleman. You don't have to go through your store who's already had the price marked up by a distributor. It's just straight to consumer, farm to table, baby. FTT.
Middlemen add no value or very little value. I've had that thesis for a long time. Now, Russell Wilson to
what about group subbers?
Yeah, we're going to be gone very soon. But while we're here, we want to add value. SGC, we're going to be doing a group sub. Also included are those 50 free submissions. It's going to be a one-stop shop. Basically, think about it this way. You're going to sub cards with us. You're going to have them back in your hands within a month. Raw, graded, sold in 30 days. Working with Luca Nation Network. Stay tuned for that. Russell
said-
Wilson. Yeah, go ahead.
Russell Wilson. You know what? First thing I thought of with Russell Wilson is I bought in the last. Oh, Santa. Santa has bought, and I have bought. Me and Santa combined have bought
Is
a lot
Ian
of
also
jerseys.
right?
A lot of jerseys for Ian. No, but
Is Ian waiting to give us a dad joke?
He has YouTube. You know, I mean, he watches his dad to see what he talks about. You know, he's a proud Luca Nation member also. So I bought him a James Harden Rockets jersey. Right? I bought him, let's see, a couple of LeBron jerseys. So that's kind of silly. What other jerseys did we buy him? I bought him a Gardner Minshew jersey. Yeah, that was awesome. I bought a bunch of jerseys, and one of the few, you know, I bought him a Drew Brees jersey. I bought him a Julio Jones jersey on the Falcons. I bought him a Drew Brees jersey. He retired. Like every jersey I buy, the guy either retires or gets traded. And the one thing that we had this whole year was he could wear his Russell Wilson jersey during school. Now he'll grow out of it eventually, which is cool. He's growing out of some of these. Zach LaVine is one that he's cool. That's Zach LaVine jersey. We're good with that one. But yeah,
Zach LaVine on the Bulls, right?
Yeah, on the Bulls. I said to him today, I go, hey, pal, another jersey. This dude plays for the same team for 10 years. You get his jersey, and boom, he gets traded. So what do you think? Russell Wilson, what do you think?
Dude, I'd be a buyer. I think that team is poised to make a run, and I think we've talked about it, Cage. We think the situation in Kansas City feels how do I word this? After a lot of success, there is a fallout of ego. So on top of a fallout of ego, the cap space. So I don't think that we're going to see the Chiefs team next year that we've seen the last 3 years. And I think it's a real opportunity for this Broncos team who finally has a great quarterback and has a lot of young talent on offense and is a tough defense. I think the Broncos finish in first or second in that division, but I think through the first 8 games, I think they could be first in that division. I'm not a buyer on the Chargers.
Whew. So let me tell you what my takes are, and you guys, we'll go to the next topic pretty quick, right?
I was going to ask you as well if you could tie in buy, sell, or hold on Wilson.
100%. So I'll go further. So before this happened, I was fade the Raiders next year. They're going to lose more games than they win, and this makes it even worse because think of the division that they're in, and they're coming off a playoff run here now, playoff appearance, where they got knocked out by the team that made it to the Super Bowl, right? So, people are like, oh, they're a playoff team. They'll get back. No. They have the toughest division in football, I believe, right? There are some other good divisions, but toughest division in football. And it just got tougher. I mean, they may lose every division game. They lose every single division game, right? They play each of those teams. They have to play the Chiefs twice. I'm sure they'll be underdogs in both. They'll play the Chargers twice. I'm sure they'll be underdogs in both. And now they're going to play Russell Wilson twice. So, pencil them in for 6 losses. Right there. And so I go against the Raiders. 2, I love Russell Wilson. I think it's great. I think that, you know, he's one of the, it's one of those things we talk about, like exits on Russell Wilson. This is like a cool point on him because there's going to be more energy now about him. There's going to be more of a lead up about this. Oh man, just like you said, I think that team's going to be in first place. He's going to be great. It's a nice change of scenery. But where I would go with this one step below is I don't have any. I wish I stocked up on this. I was injured last year. It's a great buying opportunity. Jerry Jeudy. If you don't know who this guy is, take a look at some of his.
You gave him as a player. Remember this guy? Fast little guy, right?
He's skinny, but and very fast. But he's good. He's a Bama receiver. You know what I mean? And take a look at some of his film from college. He was like a video game. I mean, just fast, can stop on a dime. He had an injury last year. He's really good. He's, I believe, an upgraded version of like CD Lamb, like that kind of good. You know what I mean? And he's clear-cut number 1 wide receiver. And you saw what Russell Wilson could do. You know, he turned DK Metcalf, obviously a freak of nature, into an actual wide receiver. Right. You know, Lockett wasn't like supposed to be so great, and you know he became a Pro Bowler basically under Russell Wilson. So I expect huge things, and layer on top of that, they have a good running game. They have a very good running game. They have a good line, and Russell Wilson's going to throw. They're going to have to throw because even if you think they are going to be great in that division, they're going to have to keep up with the Chiefs' offense. They're going to have to keep up with the Chargers' offense, Raiders' offense, whatever. But they're going to have to score, right? So he's going to be.
You think he went there with that idea too, right?
Yeah.
That he's going to put up big numbers.
Well, that's the downside. So why I like Jerry Jeudy more is because they're gonna have to throw. He's gonna have stats. I don't know what the team's gonna do. I don't know what the success is gonna be. I'm not calling a Super Bowl for the Broncos, right? But I think Jerry Jeudy's gonna put up some really good numbers this year, and that's a huge thing for card value. Obviously, what they do on the field does still sort of matter. But the best move of the day today was by Aaron Rodgers, staying in Green Bay, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because he's staying out of the AFC. So I love Russell Wilson. I think he's got a great team, but now you can just just go through it, man. In his own division, he's got Mahomes and Herbert, Derek Carr. Unless you have Vegas Dave, it doesn't matter.
How many shots are you going to take at the Raiders?
I just know the team. I know the team.
Let's say you have a little brother, and you're infinitely more talented than that little brother. You don't have to take 45 shots at him during one episode.
Dude, they overachieved. That's okay. The point is, I'm not calling Carr in the same category as like all these other great quarterbacks.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
Herbert and Mahomes, now you add Wilson. You already have Burrow. You have Lamar Jackson, a former MVP, right? I mean, you have Mac Jones, Josh Allen. Jones had a good year, so I'm throwing him in there. I mean, you have all these great QBs, right? And we talked about this last year. Only one of them can go to the Super Bowl, right? Only one of them can go to the Super Bowl. And, it's difficult. And that's just one half of the league. On the NFC side, you had Tom Brady go to Tampa and walk to the Super Bowl, basically. Rodgers was his only real, was only real threat over there. Wilson was there. Now he's gone. Tell me the other NFC quarterbacks.
Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC behind
that
Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, you have no more Brady, right? So, I mean, look what you're talking about here now. So Rodgers staying in the NFC was smart, And what's funny is, as powerful as the AFC is, and how great they are at the gauntlet that it's become, the NFC team seems to find a way to beat them in the Super Bowl.
Well, they're Rams did, out, right? They're less
Niners did. Yeah, I mean, they beat each other up, But I'm just talking about it from an investment perspective, right? Like, I would much rather have my money in Rodgers betting that he makes it to the Super Bowl than any of the 7, 8, 10 young quarterbacks that I just named. I'm not throwing Trevor Lawrence in there. He's not winning this year. And, it makes it Zach Wilson. I mean, there are some guys that don't even make it into the same category and conversation, but just the AFC quarterbacks, right? So Rodgers doesn't really have that hard of a time to get there, although he didn't get there. I just think it's tough. And if I'm Russell Wilson, I'm saying, all right, Denver, that's tough. He lost his tight end in the trade too. Fant's a good tight end. So
Jerry Jeudy. Not Jerry Jeudy. Sorry. Calvin Ridley. I've seen split. Some people are like, dude, the line in gambling is so thin. Doesn't matter, $1,500, $50,000 or $1 million. Guy should be banned for life, Pete Rose style. Other people are like, look, Ray Rice, 2-game suspension for beating his wife. This guy, 2-game suspension for beating his wife. This guy, 1 year for gambling using FanDuel. Are you kidding me? Thoughts? We don't have to spend a ton of time on this stuff.
There's a specific rule against gambling when you sign on to play in the league, right? All the other things they're really they're horrible, and these people shouldn't be given another chance, and no one should be doing a lot of these things. But this betting when you are playing, right, or betting when you're on a team, betting, it's almost like insider stuff. You know what I mean? Like, if you're betting, all right, you know what's going on. You know what's going on with your team, with the other team. It's just, do I think it's on the same level as domestic violence? Obviously not, right? Why I think it has to be taken seriously, even now more so. People are talking about the fact that the league is in bed with all these, casinos and gambling sites now, so they should be more lenient with it. I think it goes the other way. I think the league has to be tough on it. Why? Because in previous time, the league didn't give a shit about betting. Now the league gets a cut of it. Now these are partners. The league is a partner with these guys. The integrity of the product being put out there on the field means more now than it ever has, because the league is getting paid by all of these, gambling sites to sponsor. You can't go 5 minutes without a gambling commercial.
For sure.
Without the league right on the broadcast.
You remember how taboo gambling was in the 90s?
So I mean, for that reason, I think they had to make an example here. The only problem I have with what Ridley did was, dude, just shut your Twitter off. Just be quiet. It's $1,500. Okay, great. I know you want just, let your lawyer figure out a way to make it that your phone got stolen, or that you were, temporarily insane, or whatever it is they could come up with to make an argument to make it 8 games or 4. But you go out there on Twitter and say, I only bet $1,500. What the hell are you supposed to do with that? It's like, hey, I robbed the bank, but I only got a couple 20s, so it's not that bad. No, just shush. Zip it.
Dude,
come on.
Okay, I'm going to put it like this. Search Dave Chappelle, R. Kelly joke. He talks about this because I don't want to go too far down the road, but it's hilarious. It talks about how you got to give your lawyer something to work with.
Yeah, you do.
This is the best 15-year-old I've ever had.
I've never seen a Chappelle episode in my life.
He said he got caught 20 times saying that on video. And then he was like, you got to give your lawyer something to work with. You got to be like, this is the best 36-year-old I've ever had.
Yes.
But of course everyone would know that you're lying because everyone knows. There's no good 36-year-old.
I get it. I understand what you're saying.
Did I do it justice?
I don't know. I've never watched Chappelle, but I'm sure you did. I'm sure you did a very good job. I think you did great.
B-.
So those are some NFL news. Somebody threw a rumor out there today that the MLB is agreeing to get rid of bunting. Was that just a lie? What the hell was that?
I can't see how they would do that. It's stupid. First off, what is a bunt?
It's so dumb.
Ichiro used to slap bunt. Like
a drag bunt.
Yeah,
like a drag bunt for a hit. Drag the ball for a bunt. Yep.
I don't understand. I think it's a joke. I think when there's negative press, it's so easy to kind of throw, some funny shit in there and it's believable.
Yeah, I'm hoping that's a joke. I do. You want to know baseball more than any other sport? It's there for the longest. It's the longest season and it's every day. So it's like us. We're there for the long haul. And we're basically there every single day.
You're the owner, I'm the players.
I don't know if we'll go that far. Listen, I am still amazed. I have not seen a positive spin for the owners from anyone. Every news outlet, every checkmark Twitter person, you name it, it is all the players are fighting the good fight and the owners are assholes. I haven't seen.
Can I tell you what I think is happening?
I've even seen people argue about Russia. Like Russia, let's cheer for Russia instead of Ukraine. Like there are more people on Russia's side than on the owner's side.
So we live in a really interesting age, and this doesn't just apply to sports, where much of what we think is narrative driven. And you got to understand that the people that are owners, they're 80, 90-year-old rich men. They came from one media source. They came from when government radio, was put into your ear and it was one source of information. We live in an era right now where it's like the Gladiator, win the fans, win your freedom. Stay with me.
I get you. I know what you're saying.
I don't think that they've adapted to modern day marketing, modern day communication.
Okay.
Because they used to live in, I give a quote, I give it to New York Times, they publish it, that's it, we're done. Now you have to do media and communication every minute of every day, and you have to win over the Twitter mob, the Instagram mob, the Facebook mob. It's a new era, man. Everything right now, in my opinion, is narrative driven. And the fight over is not the fight. Like, I think the fight now is over like internet. I don't like. Am I making sense?
You are. Do you know who Liberty Media is?
Are you saying that these guys own Liberty Media?
No. Do you know who it is? I mean, Liberty Media, like they own like Live Nation and Sirius XM and the drone racing, a part of the drone racing league. I think only a couple % of the drone racing league. But like Formula One group, Liberty Media, they own the Braves. So if you're telling me that the owners are all, crotchety old 80-year-olds, so they don't know media, I mean, a media company owns the Braves. Now,
Okay.
I get what you're saying.
Is Sirius a player in today's day and age? No.
I don't know. They still have Howard Stern, I think. But I know what you're saying. What you're saying, take it one step further. When a company wants to get something done, they pay somebody with a blue check mark to tweet about it. And all of a sudden now we're out there. We got, hey, this person's saying it. It's on my feed. Oh, this must be accurate. And then all of a sudden it pops up all over the place. It's the same thing. I'm sure Liberty Media is not doing that. So I understand what you're saying and point taken 100%. But it is this narrative driven. These guys, they're pretty far apart. Let's not talk about baseball because we got so much other stuff to talk about. We
I will tell you.
Shoot.
Trae Young is so far a distant 4th or 5th star from Tatum, Ja, and Luka. It couldn't be funnier. And I'm worried for people holding Trae. A good friend of mine loves Trae. You know who I'm talking about.
Who? You're talking about Lamine?
Yeah. Best account in the game, bar none. But no, I've watched a lot of the Hawks recently. I've actually watched a lot of the Pistons too. But I got to tell you, man, other than chucking up bad shots, here's a few things. Guys that play bigger than they are and guys that play smaller than they are. We all have our height, but there's this presence about you. If you watch Trae, he plays smaller than his height even, and he's tiny. So when you finish at the rim, he struggles finishing at the rim. He doesn't go up at high point. He goes up at a low point. He gets the shot blocked or deflected or misguided very often. His decision-making at the end of the games is terrible. He's a liability on defense. And here's what I watched recently. He is ineffective if the ball isn't in his hands. So we compared him when he came into the league like he was more Steph Curry. Look at this. Steph Curry's changed the game. And we gave Trae the baby Steph Curry tag. I think he's a smaller Harden.
Interesting.
On the other side, and I could jump right into my play today. Actually, I have 2 plays, but I'll give one today.
So you have Trae against Tatum. That's you said he's a distant behind Tatum, right?
Tatum
right. So I mean, I'm not going to argue with that much, but I will do Lamine James a service, right? Tatum has one more season, and he's been in the playoffs a lot more, but that just speaks of the team that's been built around him. 3 All-Star games to 2. You got to figure Trae will be another All-Star game. That's just, he has a season on him. All NBA teams, Tatum has, and Mr. Trae does not. But let's talk about their stats. I know you're talking about more than stats. Talk about team wins, but one guy can only do one thing, right?
I'm actually talking about how the fact that the stats have skewed Trae higher than he should be. That's my worry. Is that if you look at Trae's stats, you would think he's a very, very good player.
I mean, stats are the player.
They're not, man. And that's what I am worried about, because what happens is this experiment with the Hawks eventually runs thin. And they say we have to move on from this guy like we have to move on from Harden. And his stats are falling off. And no one cares about Harden.
Yeah, I mean, Harden's got great stats, and all of a sudden people care about Harden again because he got put on a team that is using him in pick and rolls, and the team is 4-0 since he 4-1, 4-0 with him because he didn't play
after he fell off at Houston, went to the Nets, and then went to Philly. My worry is that Trae he's a million miles away from Curry, and he's actually closer to on the downswing of Harden in Houston. And I think he's going to lose cardboard relevance. Yeah, I think he's going to lose cardboard relevance.
I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm not a huge Trae guy. You know that. When he dropped his 50-something points, I sold, the Trae stuff that I had very publicly, on Instagram, and didn't get the offers I would have liked. But, I know, Tatum's a bigger guy. They're both backcourt. But, I mean, Trae averages a lot more points per game, a lot for their career. Tatum's career average is 20.6, and Trae's is 25. Tatum has him in rebounds, but for a little guy, Trae has 4 rebounds a game for the career, 3.9.
But
And
my question,
assists.
you just did this. You did it in the
Yeah.
AFC. You said, look at the quarterbacks that you have to go through.
Yep.
You didn't put up any of those quarterback stats, but right now you're
Yes.
doing NBA and you're pulling up stats. My point
No, but I
is,
could do
Trey,
that. I mean,
but
we can compare all the young guys. We can
Trey
compare the
will
stats
never
of the
get
young
through
guys.
the East. That's my point. Is he'll never get through the East. I don't know.
Well, he might not get through it. He might not get through it this year.
I don't know how he got to the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I think you guys should consider yourself the luckiest people in the world. They're never getting back there.
Right, but nobody did, right? But he found a way to do it. You know, with some pretty impressive performances.
And he's holding on by a thread. And my urge to people holding Trae is that thread is going to get cut very soon because he is not finding his way anywhere close to that Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, but that's just one season. You know what I mean? You say buy Russell Wilson. When was the last time he made a Super Bowl?
I didn't say buy.
You know? Yeah, you said Russell Wilson's a buy. You did. You said Russell Wilson's a buy.
I asked buy, sell, or hold.
All right, we'll clip it. Make sure we clip this. We're 36 minutes in. He's forgotten what he's already said. We'll get there. No, so your point is that Trae's stats are fool's gold. I get it. I understand what you're saying. I happen to think Tatum's stats are fool's gold. But we'll see. And here's the thing. Today, Tatum has had a couple of really good games this season. If we go back and we can find our own episodes when the Celtics weren't on a 14 out of 16 game win streak, you know, when the beginning of the season, when it didn't look like they were being able to put it together and we didn't know who was going to be where and was it Jaylen Brown's team or Tatum's team and were they going to be able to figure it out? We were like, this team's a mess. I mean, you didn't love Tatum then. You didn't. And maybe because you watch the games, you do love them now because maybe they figured out a way to do it. And I get it. I understand. But the thing is, what if next year, so before we cut the thread, right? He doesn't make the finals. Maybe he doesn't make the playoffs this year, Trae. But he clearly can put up numbers. He clearly can put up assists. He can put up, now he's not a great defender. He's a terrible defender. But what if during the offseason, they get one or two decent players on there to build around him? A great defender, a rim protector, you know, another two that he can distribute to. I don't know. We're
because I think he has a good team.
No, he doesn't.
You don't think John Collins is anything worth sniffing at?
No. One guy. No, it's one guy. You've already said this, right?
Capella.
So now we're on Trae. It's a bunch of athletic guys who are, come on. Did you just really name all those guys and say that's a real good team? They're all quality players.
They're all quality players around a superstar, a perceived superstar.
Yeah, but look at the other teams, right? And we can do this just like we did.
They lost to the Detroit Pistons in a game that they had to win.
It's one game, and the Pistons are actually up and coming, right? So, but here you go. You're right because the team sucks. He's good. The team sucks, and here's the thing, right?
But what happens is Cade Cunningham is 6'6", and Trae is basically dead in the water because Trae is 5'11", and he can't do anything. So he shoots 4 of 20.
So in this league. Let's talk about the teams you think are going to make a championship run. Give me the West. Who's going to make a championship run? Give me 3 teams.
When you say championship run,
give me 3 teams that you think could win the championship from the West.
This year.
I'll do it for you. Say the Suns. Say the Suns. Go ahead. Go ahead. Say the Suns.
You're not a great host. This year or in the future?
This year.
Suns.
We're talking about this year. You want to cut the thread on Trae Young. This is Suns. Okay, Suns. Booker, Chris Paul. Next. Who's next? What are the other 3 teams? Because you're the arbiter of who can and cannot make a finals run. So give me the finals run. Give me the West teams. You watch the games, remember?
I would say the Warriors, but right now they're very much struggling because of injuries.
The Warriors. Because they have one star who's playing and their other stars are injured, so they're struggling.
And the Nuggets.
Next.
If everything clicks into place with Murray,
because they have one star and they're waiting for their other stars, Murray and Jokic. Let's talk about the East now.
Bucks.
The Bucks.
Heat.
And what you need for the Bucks.
Celtics are my final
what you need for the Bucks to make it is it can't just be Giannis. Somebody else has to step up. Middleton has to be there. Middleton has to drop 40 in a playoff game. Drew Holiday, who you spent 20 minutes of an episode just singing his praises and telling everyone what a great player he was, right? So the Bucks and the Sixers. So now we got the Sixers. Sure, the Sixers added Harden, Embiid and Harden. The Nets, if people want to talk about the Nets, it's Durant, but they can only go so far with Durant. They got to have Kyrie play, or Simmons is going to have to actually show up and play some basketball, right? So the point I'm making here is I'm not ready to cut on Trae yet, because Trae is Curry, waiting for Draymond or Clay to show up and play. Just like you just said, Warriors can make a finals run, but I'm sorry, everything's got to work for them. Hey, you know what? The Nuggets can make a playoff run. They got Jokic, but they need Jamal Murray or Michael Porter Jr., somebody else to step up. It's the same thing. Trae is Jokic right now with nobody there helping. He's Curry waiting for his guys.
You got to understand this. Trae and Clay and Dre don't show up. They are developed into talent. Teams need to develop talent. And just stay with me. If you just stay with me.
I'm with you.
The issue with guys like Harden and Trae are that the talent around them can't develop.
Oh, okay.
Just stay with me, please. Kate, let me finish.
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Because of the way they play. Talent can't develop for two reasons. One, because they hold the ball for the duration of a shot clock. And two, they're ineffective without the ball. So what allowed Clay and Dre to develop was the fact that Curry can play on the ball and off the ball. So Dre could run point guard or play a pick and roll with Curry.
So it was Harden and who else? Harden holds the ball. Who else?
Harden and Trae.
Okay, so I want to make sure I'm clear on this. LeBron, he won't let people around him develop because he doesn't make them better.
I didn't bring up LeBron at all in this.
I'm bringing up LeBron because the point you're making is that there are people who have a style of play that don't let players around them develop and they don't make them better. You've now said LeBron, Harden, LeBron, Trae. Think of the people you're putting this person in the category of now.
I didn't say LeBron. You said LeBron.
I'm adding LeBron because what you
Harden
said
is a nobody, bro. No one cares about Harden's cards.
You can't have somebody out there who's not going to let the players around him develop. This is one of your takes. That LeBron doesn't let the players around him develop. He doesn't make them better. So guess what? Trae could be LeBron. He could be LeBron. In your world, he could be LeBron. All I'm trying to tell you is there is no number two for him. And what if next year there's a number two? Every team we mentioned has a legitimate number two or needs a number two to step up and be a legit number two for them to make a run. And if you're talking about,
you infuriate me when it comes to basketball scouting.
If you're talking about well, because listen, you can watch the games and you can talk about the games, but ultimately an argument has to be made. It has to be constructed. And you're mad at me because
LeBron at all. You brought LeBron into it.
Because you are making the same argument about Harden and Trae that you made about LeBron. You said the problem with him is that he won't let the players around him develop the way that Steph let Draymond develop. You said that about LeBron. You said he doesn't make the players around him better.
I said that a million years later in a different context.
Same thing.
So
he's a solo player, needs the ball.
Not always. Anyone. LeBron used to play incredibly off the ball. He used to go. Yeah. He used to go to the rim. He used to get alley-oop dunks. Now he's become a stationary guy.
Where he's on the ball in the bubble.
Huh?
Did he play well off the ball in the bubble season? No, right?
A lot better. Yeah, for sure. Because AD got.
Well, then they won the championship. Listen, guys. And if you own an NBA team or you're a general manager or a coach, Andrew has the secret. He has the secret to winning a championship. You cannot have a player like Luka who has the ball in his hands too much. You cannot have a Trae. You cannot have a Harden. You cannot win with them. Andrew knows because he watches the game.
Why did you bring Luka in? Why did you bring Luka in?
Because you said somebody who's got the ball in their hands. You said you can't have somebody like Harden who have to have the ball in their hands and have the offense run through them. That's Luka.
Notice I didn't put Luka in a team that.
I know because it doesn't help your argument.
No.
Because you would have to then admit that Luka can't win a championship.
He can't.
All right, folks. Look what we did there.
But
now I want you to give him some stuff. If he doesn't like Trae, he doesn't like Luka. And LeBron doesn't make players around him better. Woo!
Luka is infinitely more skilled than Trae. That's and he's bigger. He's fucking.
But he still can't win. But he still can't win. You just said he's not going to win a championship. Why?
I don't believe you could win with ISO ball in general as like a framework.
I'll tell you why. He still needs one more piece. Still needs one more piece. Can't do it himself.
Harden had Chris Paul and he couldn't win.
Yeah, and Oklahoma City. It was a young Oklahoma City team. You know, they didn't learn to play together.
All right,
One
guys.
season.
So
One season.
let me digest it down. Distill this.
Yes, distill it. Give us the antidote.
Why I came up with this, not because I want to hate on Trae, is if
Yes.
I'm holding Trae
Sounds like
cards,
it.
I would be incredibly worried because I think that he's closer to the end of his run with the Hawks. Some people think he has a lot of potential. Cage says the opposite. That's all I want to do. I'm not a buyer on Trae, and if I'm holding Trae, I'm selling. That's all I'm saying.
So if you're holding Trae, you're selling because you think he's the number 5 or 6 best young player in the league.
I don't think there's any upside to him. I don't see how he's ever going to make a run out of the East.
Okay. Would he make a run out of the West?
Dude, I don't think he could. Given all the things I tried to explain, but you've tried to destroy.
No. You've explained them well.
Undersized.
This is what we do.
He plays small, and he can't play off the ball. And he's a poor decision maker. Those are my 5 things.
That's another one. Poor. So does he have a lot of turnovers? Is he like a turnover machine?
Well, I'll give you an example of something that doesn't go in the stat sheet as a turnover, but is a turnover.
Yes.
3 minutes left in the game. He dribbles up the court. Just stay with me.
I'm with you.
3 minutes left in the game. Close game. He dribbles up the court, and without any passing, he chucks up a 30-foot three-pointer. Now, that goes as a missed shot, but that doesn't go as a turnover, but that's as good as a turnover. You have no bodies under the rim to offensive rebound. It's an easy rebound for them. You have no ball movement to get an easy one because you could always get that shot later in the shot clock. It's as good as a turnover, but it goes as a missed shot. Or sometimes it goes on ESPN and it's like, oh my God, look, he made it. That's a bad shot. That's a shot that causes you to lose games. That's a shot that causes you to lose to the Pistons, and it hurts you later on down the season. I'm done with this. I'm going to get into my play. My play
Before you do, Jayson Tatum, right? One thing I heard about him, because you put him in the top 4, which is recency bias, right? You put him ahead of Trae. We always had that top 4 of Luka, Ja, Zion, Trae. Obviously Ja has jumped
Trae is
in there.
To Zion, in my opinion, but Zion has way more.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. So Tatum is a fancy flavor of the month, right? But I heard Kendrick Perkins talking about him this morning, even after the multiple 50-point games. I listen to him all the time. He watches the games too. And the argument that he made was that if you look at Tatum with as many years in the league and as good as he is and dropping 50 points, you would expect his field goal percentage and 3-point percentage to be a little higher. And that he has the volume shoot, and that his field goal percentage is about 43%, and his 3-point percentage is about 33%. And that those are not horrible, but for somebody who's going to be a superstar and somebody you're expecting to be like top of the league, you would expect him to be, shooting a little bit better than that. And that what he said was, and this is something I've heard you talk about, there are guys who kind of work on their game, and there are guys who on the other side, they use their athleticism, right? So if we're talking about Tatum, long term, a lot of what he's doing now, he makes some big buckets. Don't get me wrong. But a lot of it is on athleticism. A lot of it is on the bounce. A lot of it is on the hops. And what Perkins was saying was you would expect that somebody 5 years in you'd see an improved field goal percentage year over year. And you're not seeing that. So what do you think about that?
Well, I think field goal percentage is a terrible statistic, especially for your number one shooter. I'll explain why. Because as the number one guy, you're expected to bail your team out of difficult shot clock situations, which causes you to take and miss bad shots. And that's going to lower your field goal percentage.
Which don't count as turnovers on the stat sheet. But sometimes you got to chuck up a bad shot like Trae does.
No, sometimes you didn't run the offense well because Tatum doesn't run the offense, first off. Mm-hmm. But sometimes just the team doesn't run a good offensive set. And at the end of the set, you give it to the guy with 5 to 8 seconds left, and you got to take a shot.
Yeah, sometimes it's a bad shot.
Percentage is such a dumb stat.
I mean, I agree with you, man. I mean, the point of playing basketball is to take a shot and get it in. So a stat that determines and tells you how often it is. That's not the point of
basketball, bro. The point is to win games.
It's to miss.
It's to win games.
It's a miss when you. So how do you win games? You get the ball in the basket more than the other team does, and
you didn't say more than the other team.
Usually, though,
it's to win games.
Yeah, but you win by putting the ball in the basket, and if you have a higher field goal percentage, that means the ball's going in the basket for you more often than it's not.
The Grizz have one of the worst.
You tell me how that's a dumb stat.
The Grizz have a pretty low shooting percentage, not near the top of the league, but they offensive rebound incredibly well, so they get more buckets than everyone else, and they also force more turnovers. The other team shot better, but they won the game.
Well, the field goal percentage doesn't always mean it, but I think the Grizzlies, if they shot the ball in more often, would probably be a 1 seed now instead of having to
If they
get
improved
the
their
offensive
field goal
rebound.
percentage, they would be. If Ja
So
was
I
a better
guess
3-point shooter,
I guess it's not. I guess it's not that dumb of a stat then. Better field goal percentage is usually a good thing for the team.
It's not. It's not a good or bad stat. It's just a number.
So you would rather, if I just said to you right now, you're going to put a team together, you would take a team that has a lower field goal percentage than a higher one?
No, I would actually watch the players play and
No.
I'm
just it's just a stat. It's
no, I wouldn't look at
if
stats.
If I gave it teams, I said, all right, field goal percentage, well, no field goal percentage. No, see, this is why I do well, because stats do matter. Like it can't always be on gut or feel or chemistry. That's part of it, right?
Dude,
but you have to have
some pay for the show. You clicked on my fucking face. Turn me off.
You have to have
my
analytics.
Shit. Listen to someone.
No, I love your stuff. I love it, and they love it too. But you're spouting some fun stuff.
I'm a feel and I watch. I feel and I watch.
Yes, dude. There's something to that. You know what I mean? You have to have some gut. I've never been a believer in like total sabermetrics. You have to have a little bit of both. But you can't also, you can't dig your heels in and be like, well, field goal percentage is a dumb stat. I mean, it tells you how often the ball goes in when you shoot. I mean, we're having a fun little back and forth.
Fine.
But you want the ball to go in when you shoot.
So guys, go search Chris Paul on the JJ Redick show. There's going to be a clip.
Oh, wait, JJ Redick again.
I knew you were going to jump down my throat. Let me go.
No, go ahead.
Chris Paul said one of his biggest pet peeves is the people who don't shoot at the end of quarters. He asked JJ, what do people do at the end of the quarter? He said, dribble, jump, wait for the the clock to expire, and shoot. He asked why. He said, because people don't want their shooting percentage to go down. Why?
Wow.
Because bonuses are based on shooting percentage. People care about their numbers.
Well, that's kind of silly.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Devontae Graham chucks the ball up every time he can, and it pays off for him.
The game winner. Did you see Brandon Ingram's half?
Oh, that was by the way, that was one of the most ridiculous shots I've ever seen. Like, I know Graham's was the longest in 25 years, but that shot from Ingram, he wasn't even looking. It was like ding like this, and it went in. That was crazy. Give me a play, and then I'll give you mine.
Oftentimes, we struggle in sports when there isn't a comp. Not a comp like any sales of this player. A comp of like, dude, Magic Johnson, no one's ever played like you. For a while, it takes the whole league by storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've never seen this before. Now, this isn't the same type of magnitude, but I do want to bring your attention to this. If you look at the backcourt that the Pistons are building in Saddiq Bey and Cade Cunningham, it's been a while since we had a point guard and a shooting guard that are 6'6", 6'7". They look 6'8" oftentimes, that are that long and that big, huge hands, huge wingspan. I haven't seen that in a while. And I think it's 50-50. I was not a believer on Cade Cunningham when he came into the league. I'm still torn. But I'll tell you, what that Pistons team is building with Dwayne Casey, Saddiq, and Cade Cunningham are going to be a tough backcourt in 2 to 3 years. This is a longer-term play, so please understand that. Marvin Bagley, who would have thought we would bring that name up? He's putting up some numbers in Detroit.
He is. He is.
He's going to go somewhere. He's still there. So you have this interesting team that's found a little something with Bey and Cade Cunningham. And my play today is not necessarily go in and buy Cade, but if you look at his recent numbers, he's improved his shooting. He's more efficient. He's getting a better understanding of the game. I like Saddiq a lot. And I think they're going to be a good backcourt in 2 to 3 years. I like Dwayne Casey as a coach, actually. Coach of the year, then got fired. Remember by the Raptors, how hilarious was, not really hilarious, but like, who does that? I think monitor, watch, and find your spots. I think Cade could do some things, man. He's a good player. He's a good young player, and I think this Pistons team might have found something there.
He looks a little sleepy, but I do love Saddiq Bey. Big fans of our show. Remember, I gave him as a play when Prism came out last year, the draft Prism, before even Prism came out. That was like a star stock play. Go ahead and get on Saddiq Bey. The dude's putting up numbers. Wasn't even in the starting lineup, but was in because of injuries. If you remember, Killian Hayes was more of a hyped up rookie, same rookie class, and he got injured. He hurt his leg, and we went with Saddiq Bey. So yeah, man. I mean, I like their style of play. Cunningham looks a little sleepy out there, just from an energy standpoint. Like he's playing great. He just looks kind of like, it's like it's easy. And people don't like that. People want to see like John Moran angry, dunking the ball, and doing that thing. But the team is definitely. You want to talk about a team with some upside? That's definitely a team with some upside, 100%. So
I agree with you. Like the sleep, like it's a different vibe, right? It's not like a perceived killer. He's just like very
he doesn't.
cool.
Yeah,
I agree.
But my play actually is one of those guys too, a silent assassin today, right? My play today is a good one, and it's number wise. Maybe you could pull up the card ladder stuff and help me out with this one because you are good at this stuff. I know, and we can talk about this. And really, the play is multiple levels. Can base cards be investable again? I think if you go far back enough, base cards can be. You got to look at the pop on this. I think the pop is probably done because we saw some amazing expansion. And this card right now, you can get it for basically 15%, 12% of what it was in its last year's first quarter peak. But let me tell you a story, okay? And then we'll get to it, right? I'm going to tell you a story about a guy who has 3 finals MVP awards, 5 NBA championships, won championships in 3 different decades, rookie of the year, 2 MVPs, averaged 19 points, almost 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 2.2 blocks in almost
David
1,400.
Robinson.
No, his better teammate. Close though.
Tim Duncan?
I'm talking about Tim Duncan, right? But here's the fun. In addition to all those
You
numbers,
won in 3 decades?
Yeah.
Oh, 90s, 2000s, and 2000. That's crazy.
Pretty cool, right? But here's a better story for you. I talk about character, and everybody kind of gives me shit about that. But I think we're both character people also. Sometimes I'm amazed by the generosity and the shots you take. You're a boxer, so
you really pissed me off today. I was not happy.
Relax. But so anyway, but dude, listen, people never like being told, oh, Trae. Yeah, I know he averages 20-something points. He sucks. I know he's got 10 assists a game. He's just terrible. He's short. He's a little guy. So anyway, the Duncan story. Do you remember a guy named Aton Thomas? Right? You know him?
Not personally.
He played. I don't forget what school he went. He might have went to Syracuse, but he played for Washington. He was in the league 10, 12 years. Big guy. He tells a story. I think it was on Facebook maybe 5-7 years ago. And he posted this. It was probably, towards the end of Tim Duncan's, career here. And he told a story about Tim Duncan. And he said he was playing against Duncan. He was in the post on Duncan. And he kind of did one of these moves, a move that he was working on where he kind of like did a little dip and then, went to go shoot. It was one of his like dream shake type things, right? But clearly not a dream shake, more of a nightmare because Tim Duncan just blocked it in his face. And he says, we're going down the court. We're running down the court. Tim Duncan says to me, he says, hey, if you're going to try that, you got to get into my body more so that you either draw the foul or I can't block it. And Thomas is like, is this guy like trolling me? Like, is this some high level like crap talking? He says later in the game, I tried it again. I got more in his body and he didn't block it, but I missed the shot. But as he's getting a rebound, he says to me, he says, that was better. He is coaching his opponent during the game. Like, come on.
I would love to see him coach the Spurs, man. I think he'd be an amazing coach for that program.
So I think this is a guy who he will have some relevance in the game going forward. I think he could end up being a coach and a really good coach. The card that I'm looking at, just because it's already a long episode, and if you guys have stayed with us this whole time, we appreciate it. It's a fun one. We got a lot to talk about today. And I love getting Andrew riled up about basketball. Guys, he knows more about basketball than he's forgotten more about basketball than I'll ever remember, than I'll ever know. So, obviously take his word on stuff, but I like to give him a hard time. So anyway, and I think I won the argument anyway, just because, that's me.
Dude, if you ask for YouTube comments, they side with you all the time.
Every single time. They do every time. But that's because, people love Trae. But you already pulled it up. The 1997 Topps Chrome rookie. Look at that.
How did I know that this was going to be your play?
Because we're talking about a card that's 15% of the value, right? I said base card. It's old enough. So, by the way, these are sitting on eBay. They're selling in the 400s. There are cards on eBay. I know Card Ladder has the value at $555. There's ones on eBay right now, $525 or best offer, right? And so this is a card that at its peak last year, I looked it up. I looked at all the stuff. There were sales over $4,000 on it. The refractor is expensive. There's only 106 of them. Don't do what you're doing. Don't go in there. You have to buy the card that everyone's going to want, not the card that you want. So stop going Card Ladder and trying to find the card you think is cool looking. That's not the one that's going to make the money. So anyway, I love Tim Duncan. I love telling stories about him. He's not the flashiest guy in the world. He put up some great numbers, and the rookie card is now, if you were looking at this, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. It's now 400 and change. They're selling on eBay for under $500.
I would not put a Topps Chrome 1997 Tim Duncan into base. I don't think that's a base card. I just think that's his rookie card. This whole base thing there's like a base base.
It is a base.
Prism base is how I kind of thought of it as. Ginobili?
Yep. All right.
Ginobili play?
Luka Nation.
We'll talk about Ginobili a
but
different
Duncan
time
was-
because I do love Ginobili. He deserves his own
Beautiful.
segment.